Anyway, now we are going to talk about the new enhanced videos of the Brown University shooting person of interest release, because obviously the other shooting, the other potential assassination that took place was like only 20 minutes away from the Rhode Island Brown University campus shooting that took place a couple days prior to this. And that in and of itself was also a high profile incident that created a lot of chaos. And we still don't fucking know who did it, but that didn't stop the Republicans from making up their own dang minds about that one too. Specifically, Republicans and OSINT Twitter once again immediately dove into the archives to find any Palestinian they potentially could to blame for this. It was insane. Okay. Obviously, we don't have a lot of details beyond like a couple images. The shooter is still not found. There is not really any. Did you see this? This seems wild. Oh my God. I was just covering this. It was the first story I covered today, chatter. But there was a real we did it Reddit moment, but this time on Twitter. And this time even more racist than we did at Reddit.
Two people at Brown University is still on the loose. Days later now, police have released new high-quality videos of the suspect. They want the public to help identify the man on your screen here, seen around the Ivy League campus before and after the shootings. Tom Hansen is following the investigation.
Videos released Tuesday show the suspected gunman in enhanced detail, walking and sometimes running in a residential area near Brown University's campus, hours before Saturday's deadly mass shooting.
We believe that he was actually casing out this area to commit the crime. That's a pattern that criminals do.
Police say they don't know why the unidentified man appears to have a bag with him in some clips, while in others it cannot be seen. They also have not determined the man's approximate age or if he has a connection to the university.
I don't think we know anything about this person's motivations at this point.
Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Nerona says there is no surveillance video of the person of interest inside the building where 2 students were killed and 9 others injured. Brown has 1,200 cameras across campus, but Nerona says almost none were positioned to capture the shooter, citing the building's placement on the edge of campus.
Whether that was by design by the shooter or not, I can't tell you. But it is an unfortunate circumstance for us because we just don't have the kind of surveillance video that you might think.
Police insist there is no threat to the community, and they are confident there will be a breakthrough soon, despite the manhunt now entering its 5th day without answers.
The more time that passes, the more time this person of interest potentially has to get away.
Correct. But the key here is identifying the person. Once the person's identified, at that point, it is very difficult to.
Wow, these guys this is brilliant insight, dude. on both ends. Yeah. The more you know about a shooter, the harder their chances are at getting away. And the other guy's like, well, the more days pass, the harder it is for people to find who the shooter actually is. Incredible stuff happening all around. Now, the FBI is not doing great. Let's just say the FBI is not doing great. Kash Patel has had a sequence of high-profile fuck-ups at this point, which has led a lot of people to scrutinize whether or not he should even have this job at all. A lot of people are very frustrated with his performance. I am a firm believer that while the FBI does a lot of interference on, political organizing and things of that nature throughout his history, has done a whole bunch of fucked up shit. There are certain things that the FBI is supposed to be good at. This is one of those things. Okay? Like, this quite literally is the thing that they're supposed to be the best at. Okay? When a mass shooting takes place, you're supposed to be good at finding who the mass shooter is, right? You're supposed to be good at like apprehending the shooter. You're supposed to be good at figuring out who the shooter is. Like, investigating crimes and murders is the one thing that you expect the FBI to be competent at, okay? It's your job. It's the reason why you get all of the funding. Or at least, like, it's the reason why the public is comfortable with you getting all the funding. It's the reason why all the movies are about how you actually don't fuck up these investigations, right? And beyond that, the people in charge of the FBI are supposed to project confidence because this is an important institution. It's an important arm of federal law enforcement. So when you have an incompetent dipshit like Kash Patel leading the agency, you are actually not projecting confidence whatsoever. Now, obviously, people who are on the left have always been frustrated with the FBI, but even people such as myself who've been frustrated with the ideological position of the FBI or the role that it plays in, like, infiltrating and destroying, like, left mobilizing and things of that nature, is utterly irrelevant in this situation because virtually everyone understands that this is the primary purpose of law enforcement in general. Okay. But people on the right are also no longer confident in the competence of the FBI. And part of that is because they were under the Biden administration. Everybody complained about how political the FBI had gotten, how woke the FBI had gotten, so that Donald Trump, in an effort to fix the problems within the agency, decided to put a bunch of his loyalists in charge and also dramatically restructure the agency and what they were focused on, what they were tasked with dealing with. And lo and behold, we have an FBI that is incapable of delivering a coherent narrative in the aftermath of high-profile assassinations that even right-wingers care about, like Charlie Kirk. And people no longer trust it at all. So, I guess it's somewhat unsurprising. Also, something a little bit sad about the FBI, breaking from MS Now. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino has quietly told confidants he plans to formally leave his job early in the new year and will not be returning to the headquarters to work this month, according to 8 people briefed on his account. If you recall, I kept saying, where is Dan Bongino? Is he dead? Did Kash Patel murder my goat, Dan Bongino? And Dan Bongino was very depressed about how his comprehensive work as the deputy director of the FBI was ruining his life, ruining his marriage. And he was really excited to quiet quit or to potentially get back to work, hawking supplements. Turns out Dan Bongino wants to get back to podcasting and, get back to selling supplements. So there is that part of the story as well. But I'm actually surprised as to why Kash Patel has not been fired yet. That's, I think, more interesting than the inevitable retirement of Dan Bongino, who signaled that he wanted to fucking leave this position basically 2 weeks into the fucking job, especially after the Epstein files actually harmed his reputation as a conspiratorial podcaster. Anyway, here is the new surveillance video showing Nick Reiner before his arrest.
This jail in downtown Los Angeles without bail. He is undergoing what we are told are routine medical clearances. He could make his first appearance in court for arraignment as early as today. New security video shows Nick Reiner in a striped shirt pacing inside a convenience store shortly before his arrest Sunday night. Outside the store, you see the LAPD arriving and arresting him. Police say he did not resist. Prosecutors allege the 32-year-old used a knife to fatally stab his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner, in their Brentwood home. Nick Reiner is now facing 2 first-degree murder charges.
These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty.
It's still unclear when the alleged attack occurred and how long the couple had been dead before their bodies were discovered. The New York Times reports a massage therapist arrived at the Reiner home on Sunday. When nobody came to the gate, she called the couple's daughter, Romy, who arrived and found her father's body.
That's so
the day
devastating.
before the murders, Rob and Nick Reiner got into an argument at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. NBC News reports Nick interrupted former SNL comedian Bill Hader before storming off. Nick Reiner has been open about his struggles with addiction, recalling on a 2018 podcast one incident where he became violent while on drugs.
And I was up for days on end, and I started punching out different things in my guest house. I think I started with the TV, and then I went over to the lamp. Everything in the guest house got wrecked.
While promoting the film he made with his father, Nick Reiner said he was grateful for his parents.
Well, I think I'm lucky in the sense that I have parents that care about me, and because of that, when I would go out and do drugs and stuff like that, I'd feel a tremendous amount of guilt.
And close friends of Rob Reiner, including Billy Crystal and Larry David, put out a joint statement yesterday to the Associated Press, writing in part, and I quote here, Rob Reiner not only was a great comic actor, he became a master storyteller. His greatest gift was freedom. If you had an idea, he listened. He brought you into the process. To be in his hands as a filmmaker was a privilege, but that is only part of his legacy. As far as his son goes, he is represented by Alan Jackson. He is a high-profile defense attorney. Prior clients include Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey. Gail, we reached out for comment. We have not heard back.
The more you hear, Jonathan, the worse it gets. It's heartbreaking. I think Tony said it best when he said it is a family tragedy. Jonathan, we thank you, and there's more to come, I'm sure. Thanks.
Counsel, how would you like to proceed today? Your Honor, if we could, I would like to ask for a continuance of the arraignment. I want to get it complete at this juncture. It's too early. We've coordinated with counsel from the DA's office, and January 7th, with the court's permission, would be a convenient date for us to come back for potential arraignment. There are very, very complex and serious issues that are associated with this case. These need to be thoroughly but very carefully dealt with and examined and looked at and analyzed. And we ask that during this process you allow the system to move forward in the way that it was designed to move forward, not with a rush to judgment, not with jumping to conclusions, but with restraint and with dignity and with the respect that this system and this process deserves and that the family deserves.
1 week after the U.S. seized an...
All right. Yeah. This just can be used further to demonize people suffering with substance use disorder too. Seems like it's just validating Brian kill me ideology. I mean, I think there's already plenty of that stuff. You guys call him a loser, dick, etc. Obviously, he committed a heinous, unforgivable act, but he was very clearly, especially a tragic victim of addiction and awful mental health. Yeah, I mean, he also did slit the throats of both of his parents. So it's a complex story because obviously on the one hand, it shows that having basically all the resources on the planet is sometimes still not enough to combat something such as addiction. Addiction in and of itself does not imply that you're going to become a violent murderer of your parents, for the record. But even when you have supportive family members, even when you have all the money in the world, it's still not enough. We don't know if his addiction played a role in this, obviously, but the reason why people are suspecting that is because he could have relapsed or had some significant mental health complications in the process, because this act of violence is so heinous in and of itself that, you know, there's a reason why people are people are scrutinizing that aspect of his background. Are we going to talk about the conspiracy theory of Rob Reiner doing a doc on Trump and Russia, and that's why he dies? No, we're not going to talk about that, because I don't think that is as relevant in this story. Low-key, I tend to think you have mostly good takes, and I think the way you are talking about this issue, and you've done before with substance use and mental health, isn't helpful and comes off voyeuristic. We don't have enough evidence at this point about anything beyond the fact that this dude allegedly killed, slit the throats of both of his parents. Okay? I mean, I think that act alone is pretty wild. It's pretty crazy. And when you hear something like that, it's understandable that people's first suspicion would be a mental health episode. because the other side of that speculation would be that he was mentally clear in that moment, and that he was just like looking for the most opportune time to slit the throats of his parents, both of his parents, in their Brentwood home. Like, he planned it out. He had complete mental clarity. And in order for that theory to work, you have to expand on that theory and add on a million different things. Like, was this revenge? What did the parents do that invited this kind of revenge, considering that this is a deeply personal type of murder? It's not like, it's more personal than using a gun. Okay? I think that's the reason why people are assuming that that is the likely motive here, or the likely reason here. People are always so quick to judge and point the finger. This is obviously a heinous act, but we don't know all the details. I understand. People are brain broken from Netflix crime slop and the Menendez brothers. Yeah. I mean, yeah, 20-year history of drug addiction, homelessness, and the mental health complications that come along with that is going to play a role in profiling a suspect. I think it's understandable, especially when, in the absence of additional details, and when there's not more information, people are going to assume that played a role in this. It doesn't mean that everyone with mental health problems or anyone who has suffered from addiction is going to go and slit the throats of their parents at all. But it's understandable why people would assume that played a role in this. Okay. Anyway, we're moving on from the Reiner story to Venezuela. Bloomberg is reporting, according to Phil Stewart, that Venezuela is running out of oil storage space as Trump announced a blockade. Venezuela's main oil storage and tankers at its terminals are quickly filling up and may be at maximum capacity in about 10 days. Donald Trump yesterday came out and said Venezuela's oil and land actually belongs to us, the United States of America, in a Truth Social post, which was weird. And that there was also a closed-door meeting with senators, with congresspersons, giving them further details into the boat strikes that took place. Trump administration is asking the U.S. oil industry if they would return to Venezuela once Maduro is gone. And Donald Trump is signaling that he is going to invade Venezuela militarily. There's also a big announcement coming out tonight. So the suspicion now is that the announcement will talk about how wonderful the American century of humiliation looks like from Trump's perspective, how much he has actually changed the trajectory of America, which is true. He has, just in the negative, but he will claim it's in the positive. Our peaceful president, our no new wars president, is doing another war. Now, I don't think that this is simply an Epstein distraction. I think the timing of this benefits him, certainly, but that's not the reason why he put Marco Rubio as the Secretary of State. Okay? Marco Rubio has wanted this for many, many years prior to the Epstein files ever becoming a moment of political consequence for Donald Trump. I think this has more to do with extraction of natural resources and also decoupling, or at least destabilizing, Latin American countries that are outside of the orbit of American influence. The natural resources is a nice gift to the capital owners and the bosses as well. Do we have a concrete idea of what Marco Rubio's ideology is? Yes, he's a fucking war hawk. He's just permanent war. He's Mr. More War. Anyway, it's certainly about the oil as well as decoupling Venezuela and many other Latin American countries from China. We want to clean our backyard in the same way that we did during the Cold War with destabilization, death, destruction, overthrowing democratically elected socialist governments. And it's interesting that a lot of people are going, well, Venezuelan oil is not reliable or valuable, and that's the reason why it can't be for oil. And I think that's a stupid assessment. Really. I've never met a millionaire that said, no, I don't want another $1 million. Okay? Like we are not, if there's one thing that I know about capital owners and big business owners, eliminating any kind of market competition is always going to be a benefit for them. And also, it's free money. It's extra free money. The notion that they will say no to extra free money or close to free money is ridiculous. Venezuelan oil is the type of oil we process, not for the rest of the world. No, I know the type of oil that is extracted in Venezuela is different than like Saudi Arabian oil, for example, which is much easier to refine. But like I said, the very fact that it exists is enough.
Okay, not going to let anybody going through that shouldn't be going through. You remember they took all of our...
Didn't you refuse $1 million deal during election day? That's insane that you're asking me that question. Do you think I also run a cooperative. Is that the norm for every fucking quote unquote business owner? No, obviously not. Yeah, that's not. What do I always say? The reliance on the magnanimous nature of billionaires and millionaires has yet to yield tremendous prosperity for the working class. It's ridiculous.
Energy rights. They took all of our oil from not that long ago, and we want it back. But they took it. They illegally took it.
Yeah. Yes, I have met myself, chatter. I am familiar with the way I act. So much so that I know that is not the norm for those who have a financial incentive in super profits for the oil and gas industry to continue. Anyway, this is pretty cool. He's like, Venezuelan oil, they illegally took it from us. We don't know how. We don't know what that means. But yesterday, Donald Trump basically revealed that he is doing an oil tanker blockade.
Oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. This morning, President Trump going even further, escalating his pressure campaign against Venezuela's authoritarian leader Nicolas Maduro, announcing what he calls a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going to and from Venezuela. A full blockade is an act of war under international law, but Trump saying he only wants to block sanctioned oil. Trump also saying he's designating the Venezuelan government as a foreign terrorist organization, a step that legally would have to be taken by the State Department, and accusing Maduro of using the country's vast oil fields to enrich himself and his administration. Last week's seizure marked the first time the U.S. had overtly interfered with Venezuela's oil exports. Overnight, the Venezuelan government responding to Trump's latest escalation, calling his threat to impose a blockade reckless and a violation of international law. Saying in a statement, the President of the United States intends to impose in an absolutely irrational manner a supposed naval military blockade on Venezuela with the objective of stealing the wealth that belongs to our homeland. For months, the Trump administration has been increasing its operation in the Caribbean, amassing the largest military presence in decades, including the world's largest aircraft carrier. The Pentagon striking 25 alleged drug boats in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific, killing at least 95 people without providing any public evidence or identifying those killed. The administration has insisted this campaign is about stemming the flow of drugs. But in a series of shockingly candid interviews with Vanity Fair, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles blunt in suggesting this may really be about regime change. Wiles saying the president wants to keep on blowing up boats until Maduro cries uncle. And people way smarter than me on that say that he will.
And lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have expressed concerns about the legality of this campaign and that it could be dragging the U.S. into another war. And again, a full blockade would be.
Yeah, will it? I mean, yeah, it is. 100%. They're going to start blocking food and supplies next. It's completely normal to use starvation as a weapon of war now. Yeah, Donald Trump keeps saying it's about oil, but the media keeps saying, well, that's not the case now. Now, hold on now. I personally think it's not a singular reason. It never really is. It's the war economy and who stands to profit from extra war. Here, we have a little bit of extra war on top of the war that we have, on top of the wars that we have. It also, by their calculation, probably gives them additional domestic policy, domestic repressive benefits. And the ultimate goal is to forcibly destabilize countries that dare to align with China in any way, shape, or form. Okay, politically, economically, in any way, shape, or form, they're basically showing the rest of the Latin American countries like, this is what we will do to you if you have any sort of interest in aligning with our major foreign adversary. Yeah, it's the dominoes theory also playing itself out against Cuba. Donald Trump has signaled that he would do the same to Gustavo Petro as well. So any country that we are, any country that is not going out and electing, I don't know, the grandchild of a straight up Nazi, not like a neo-Nazi, like an actual Nazi, like in like what just took place with the recent election in Chile is, or sorry, not the grandson of a Nazi. I apologize. The son of a Nazi and a Pinochet supporter. My mistake. Well, then we met with the full might of American empire. Trump saying U.S. companies not profiting is theft.
Land, oil rights, whatever we had, they took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out.
Yeah. No, they took our oil rights. It's our oil. It's mine. It's my land. It's my oil. Give it back to me. I like that there is a sense of honesty in the way that Trump carries himself with this stuff, where he basically goes, what are you going to do about it? Because in the post-Israel awakening in the world, we have basically arrived at might is right politics. It always was might is right politics, but at least it was, at least there was a level of insincere pandering. If it's the Democrats, they would say stuff like, well, you know, Maduro is undemocratic and he's killing gay people or something, right? And that's why we have to interfere in their events. And in the past, for the Republicans, they would try to find a way to really beef up the threat. Oh, these guys hate us. You know, they're against everything we stand for. And they're a real ever-present danger and a threat. They have weapons of mass destruction. Donald Trump has basically decided, nah, we don't really need to do all of that. I want the oil. What the fuck are you going to do about it? Is there anyone that can dare question my authority on this? Nope. Well, guess what? We're going to fucking war. I think the real reasons why we're entertaining the invasion, the full-scale invasion of Venezuela, is partially because of obviously the oil and all of the other land and extraction of natural resources, helmed by a puppet leadership in a destabilized country that will also forcibly decouple said country from having any sort of sympathetic trade relationship with China, our major foreign adversary. It will be a warning sign to all of the other countries that are forcibly that are forced out of the American periphery, the American sphere of influence, that are directly in our backyard, as Americans love to say. And that's what the real reasons are. I don't even think people are entertaining the whole like war on drugs narrative as much. Trump seemingly has even dropped that this has anything to do with fentanyl. They basically tested that a little bit, where they were like, oh, we have to kill these boaters that are on go-fast boats, you know, smuggling who knows what between Trinidad, Tobago, and Venezuela, because they claimed that this was, you know, vicious fentanyl drug smugglers. He also did declare fentanyl to be a weapon of mass destruction yesterday. So they're still trying to hit it on every angle to the best of their ability, but it does feel like there's not a lot of confidence in this kind of narrative.
Our chief congressional correspondent Chad Pergram has the latest. I guess, Chad, goes to prove all politics are low.
Meanwhile, Venezuela going to find out why we don't have health care. Am I right? Here's one of the reasons why we don't have health care. Republicans in Congress in a state of panic and disarray. Let's take a look.
And there's a lot of Republicans in competitive seats who don't want this thing hanging around their head.
People are worried about the midterms, John. The Republican brass blocked GOP moderates from their plans to renew Obamacare aid on an interim basis. So 4 moderates signed their names to a Democratic effort to go around the Speaker and re-up the aid for 3 years.
Look, we were really left with no choice. We worked in a good faith effort over these many weeks to come up with a bipartisan compromise on extending the enhanced premium tax credits with reforms. Vote left us with little choice.
Joining Lawler on the Democrats' gambit were fellow Republicans Brian Fitzpatrick, Rob Bresnahan, and Ryan McKenzie, all from Pennsylvania. The effort now has 218 signatures, so they can team up with Democrats and force a vote on renewing the Obamacare assistance. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he has not lost control of the House.
These are not normal times. There are processes and procedures in the House that are less frequently used when there are larger majorities. When you have a razor-thin margin, as we do, then all the procedures in the book people think are on the table, and that's the difference.
These Republicans represent swing districts. There's concern about Republicans not addressing the expiring tax credits, but conservatives oppose propping up Obamacare.
Not a single Republican has ever voted for Obamacare. This is y'all's plan. You put it into law. It was a disaster then. It's a disaster now. It's more expensive now than it's ever been. And it's your plan. And it's our job to fix it.
Yeah. How do we fix it, by the way? Oh, deregulate it further in the interest of the insurance companies and their profit margins, which we are seemingly claiming that we hate. That's what's so insane about the Republican commentary on this issue, is that their solution is to make the problem worse.
House votes on a bill later today. It allows groups of people to buy insurance as a coalition. The Congressional Budget Office says the bill saves $36 billion, but 100,000 people will lose coverage in 10 years.
Let's assume for a moment you're right, and that all these Egyptian planes were flying around tracking Charlie Kirk and Turning Point and Erica Kirk. Why? What is your theory?
I don't know. Instead of watching Candace Owens, I'd rather watch a Piers Morgan Uncensored, but let's see what the comments look like. Piers, wait till it's popular Morgan. Should call them Piers, whichever the way the wind blows Morgan. Anyway, let's see. Let's see how Candace presented herself here.
I don't know.
Well, what's your theory then? You must have an
My
idea.
theory is that we should investigate everything strange that happened on that day so we can figure out what happened. The difference between me and you is that I have the courage to take the risks and ask the questions first, okay, before it's popular. You wait until it becomes popular and then you change your mind. Stop.
And she made no request of you whatsoever, Erica Kirk, in 4.5 hours. Well, no matter what your opinion is about Candace Owens, and very few people don't seem to have one, she has a definite knack for commanding attention. Many people have been openly enraged by her theorising on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Many have been captivated nightly by what they see as either a thrilling real-time investigation into a colossal cover-up or a cynical strategy to exploit the most emotive and consequential news story of the year. Several of the Candace Owens claims are focused on Turning Point USA, the organisation funded by Charlie Kirk and now run by his widow, Erica, who last week issued this firm request.
She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Well, shortly after that, Candace Owens was invited to a lengthy private meeting with Erica Kirk, which is now the catalyst for frenzied speculation that she may be having second thoughts about some of her theories. She's also, I should add, marking the release of her new book, Make Him a Sandwich. And amid all of that, she joins me now for her first interview since the meeting with Erica Kirk. Candace Owens, welcome back to Uncensored.
It's good to be with you at the end of another year.
Yes, and what a year it's been, not least for you. It's fair to say your fame continues to rise, infamy, some would put it, but you're always a welcome guest on Uncensored. Let's get to this extraordinary meeting that you had with Erica Kirk. It came right after we saw her say in that CBS town hall, you should just stop with the conspiracy theories. So who approached who about you guys actually getting together?
I was approached by Turning Point after Blake Neff, who works on Charlie's show, sort of fumbled this invite. It was, I'd almost say it was a fake invite publicly. And then in the middle of the night said, oh, Candace is not able to be here tomorrow. And they never messaged me. And I think there was quite a bit of public backlash with how they went about it. It just was just not the way that we try to set meetings. And so what happened after was they reached out to me, said Erica would agree to do a live stream, just the two of us. And then after Erica's PR blitz, they reached out again and said that they felt that it was better for us to meet one-on-one as opposed to us sitting down having Megyn Kelly moderate, which was the idea originally.
Right. And so where did you have your summit meeting?
At a hotel here in Nashville.
And a lot of your, as you know, a lot of your supporters, fans of your show, think that you may have been lured into a trap. Did anything while you were there make you think you were being lured into a trap?
I don't know that a lot of my fans think that I was being lured into a trap. I think ahead of time they had some...
Yes, they did. You're 100%. Oh my gosh, she's so compromised. Oh my God, I am no longer a clandestine operator. She is 100% compromised. It was virtually every comment, dude. Her fans are cooking her. Yeah, no shit they are. Candace Owens' large fan base was very angry with her yesterday and deeply frustrated. In all the years I've been following her and tracking her fan base, I've never seen anything like it. These are the top comments on our episode yesterday where she discussed in a word salad offering little to nothing her 4.5-hour meeting with Erica Kirk. Analysis I did of the comments, tens of thousands of them, showed 74% of them were negative. I don't know about this analysis. A stunning number. The dominant emotional currents of the comments ranked in order: betrayal and disillusionment, suspicion, paranoia and conspiracy thinking, anger and hostility, confusion and cognitive dissonance. You had a 4.5-hour meeting in a closed door setting with your op, with a person that you've designed as your op, only to turn around and back away. How the hell can you sit here and act like people weren't concerned about your well-being? There still is 160K watching right now, but that's less than yesterday. Yeah, it'll peter out. Trust. Candace Owens is folding like a cheap lawn chair after receiving pushback from her own fans. She pinned this comment under yesterday's video, but quickly deleted it after receiving even more pushback. As you can see, she plays the victim and fishes for sympathy that did not come. This comes after she raged out and accused her own fans of being boss when criticized her in the chat during the live stream. Yeah. She panicked so hard that she went live on Instagram, dude. To like more to her more loyal following in a more personal setting to a smaller audience.
A Democrat administration, and it's when we first began hearing the word affordability. Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. They were drug dealers, gang members, and even 11,888 murderers, more than 50% of whom killed more than one person. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country,
and declare
and
the
it can
invasion
never
of
be
Greenland.
allowed to happen again. We had men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody, crime at record levels with law enforcement, and words such as that just absolutely forbidden. We had the worst trade deals ever made, and our country was laughed at from all over the world.
Transgender
but
for
they're not
everybody.
laughing anymore. Under Trump, the typical factory worker has seen a wage increase of $1,300.
Yeah, he's reading the W list.
For construction workers, it's $1,800. For miners, we're bringing back clean, beautiful coal. It's $3,300.
I love miners.
And for the first time
Miners
in years,
are my favorite.
Wages are rising
Speaking
much
of miners,
faster
Jeffrey
than
Epstein,
inflation.
good guy, misunderstood.
Remember that the wages, just look at it.
Wait, what?
Wages are
Rape?
going up much faster than inflation. How big is that? Very importantly, there are more people working today than at any time in American history, and 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. Think of that. 100% of all jobs have been in the private sector rather than government, which is the only way to make a country powerful and great. This historic trend will continue. Already, I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases,
That's
growth,
much smaller
factory
than what he
opens,
was
and far
saying
greater
like last month. It was like
national
500
security.
trillion.
Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs, and that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers.
Where
They're
are
building
they?
Factories and plants at levels we haven't
Are they
seen.
invisible?
AI,
Why haven't we seen them?
automobiles, We're doing what nobody thought was even
The
possible.
Hyundai factory
not even
was
remotely
assaulted by
possible.
ICE.
There has never, frankly, been anything like
And that
it.
shit came
1 year
before
ago,
you
our country was
decided to
dead.
do the tariffs
we were
anyway.
absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Yeah, unemployment
and that's
has
said
risen,
by
by the
every
way,
single
to
leader that I've
2021
spoken to
levels.
over the last 5 months. Next year, you will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history that were
we
really
will,
accomplished
but
through
not
our
in the way that he
great,
thinks.
Big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping legislation ever passed in Congress. We wrapped 12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between $11,000 and $20,000 a year, and next spring is projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time. Because of tariffs, along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend. In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way.
We're definitely going to war with Venezuela,
understood that one until about 30 minutes ago.
Oh, we're
We made a
definitely
lot
going to
more
war
money
with
than
Venezuela,
anybody thought
That's the
because of
lobster.
tariffs, and
That's
the
the
bill
lobster
helped us
dinner, baby.
along. Nobody deserves it more than our military, and I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military, and last year we had among the worst recruitment numbers in our military's history.
It's
a
because
lot
it's
of
no
difference
longer
a year
woke
makes.
and
In
gay.
addition,
Chatters is 8 hours. Okay, gaming is not happening right now. Don't be crazy. Go take care of your foot, old man. I have to. Don't say gaming, chat. You'll spook him. Don't be a lame wad. This was a long ass day. There was overtime. We're 9 minutes into overtime. And, we had our ups. We had our downs. We had a great time overall. HasanAbi, Hassan Piker, war on gaming. Yeah, there's a real war. It's not a war announced on the foreign nation of Venezuela. It's actually a war announced on gaming and gaming chatters. Rolled your ankle back to 2006. I like that I said I got an x-ray and there's chatters in here literally being like, well, you should get an MRI. And you shouldn't just get an MRI. You should also get a second opinion, a third opinion. I'll be all right, chatters, okay? I'm going to go take care of myself. I also have another interview that I need to do that I actually pushed back. I was supposed to do it at 7 p.m., but because of the Trump stuff, I pushed it back to 8. But now I actually am available at 7. Anyway, love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow, okay? Peace, love, prosperity, free Palestine. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.